As previously mentioned in my other video, from this screenshot I'm presuming you can see I'm a fan of anime and manga. This discussion, unlike the last one, is actually going to be discussing manga instead. So yeah, sit back and enjoy me ramble on, as my experience doesn't go as far back as anime, but still pretty enjoyable. Now, as previously mentioned, my reading list in manga doesn't go as far back as it does with anime, as I started at the tail end of high school. I want to say my last year, but that might be wrong. It could have been the second to last year. But one of the first ones I did pick up was Berserk as well. It's widely regarded as one of, if not the greatest manga of all time. Rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. But I just had to check it out after so much recommendation for it. And Berserk blows you away, even as the Black Swordsman arc is not as good as the rest of it. That that is something to say when the Black Swordsman arc is regarded as bad for Berserk, but would be considered the pinnacle of many other titles because it is that good. You know, you go from that leading up from the Golden Age arc into the Conviction, then as I like to call it, the Millennium Falcon of Han Solo arc. This is just me just being stupid, by the way, but yeah, you've got so many great arcs, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm calling it that because my brain has just went black when I went to talk about this, which does suck, but I'm gonna do the best I can with the lack of brain cells that I have. This should be a blooper reel, but I'm just going to keep going. But yeah, I love Guts as a character. I love the symbolism and safety he feels with his sword. I love the difference between him and Griffith. Griffith did nothing wrong. No, he did. If you're one of those people that think he did nothing wrong, there's something insane with you. Even if it is understandable in his mindset, it was wrong. But I love how they're quite literally night and day compared to each other. The dynamics they have as what Guts believes is to be friends to really just a disposable object. Granted, his most treasured disposable object, I want to say, because Guts is a step above everyone else in the Band of the Hawk, let's be honest. And Griffith realises that, the breakdown Griffith suffers from the torture, and I'm pretty sure it is castration, right? I didn't misread that, right? I'm pretty sure that did happen. I might be wrong, but the mental breakdown, the way that he was malnourished, from trying to like choke Casca, the sheer like hatred they had in that moment to start the eclipse, just madness, sheer madness. Berserk is awesome. I've said far too much already that leads into spoiler territory, but just go read it. The art is beautiful, the story is amazing. Do yourself a favour and read Berserk. But yeah, that was the first story I checked out. There were a bunch of others that I had checked out. I read Rurouni Kenshin because, well, it was finished, and I, I was like, you know what, I want to read the stuff that I've watched to see if I have a different opinion on it, and I do think that the manga is night and day, heads and shoulders above the anime, but it's not like the anime is bad, it's just that the manga's better. It's just a shame that the creator's a scumbag. Anyway, moving on from that, obviously I had to read One Piece, to catch up. That would have been what, just round about Whole Cake Island? Yeah, I think that's right, because I went from watching it to, I'm going to blast all the way through this and catch up to where it is in the manga, because Dressrosa was still happening. Actually, no, that might be wrong. I think Dressrosa just concluded by the time in the anime, by the time I caught up. But yeah, I checked that out. I checked some other stuff out. A lot of my actual manga reading is stuff that I've seen. I actually read the Sailor Moon manga as well. Like I've previously mentioned, read the Black Bullet, both versions. The manga and the light novel, and I'm still traumatized that it's on hiatus. But we all know it's not going to come back. Here's a manga only that I did read. Bloody Monday. Bloody Monday was phenomenal, right? The setup, it was very Death Note-esque. It's with the mind games, the cat and mouse sort of structure, but very different, as this is against terrorists, whereas Death Note's about Shikigami and, well, the Death Note, the battle of good and evil, stuff like that. Bloody Monday's more grounded, if a bit. Don't get me wrong, you can definitely tell it was shonen, but it's not like it was bad. It was very, very good. Then Bloody Monday Season 2 came out, and well, for the first 30 or so chapters it was excellent, and then it just went downhill. I swear, right, I don't want to get into spoilers. It's something you need to really to understand how insane it is. Fujimaru believes in Hibiki, and they get into this lovers plot out of nowhere, which is absolutely insane when Ai was best girl. But I'm not over it. That's just me bitching about that. But the jokes aside, it was legit out of no hands. She was legit an enemy spy, and he's like, "Oh, I trust you," and then it was stupid. It was stupid, but then it deteriorates, and I thought it was it was just dragging on by the time it was getting to the later chapters, and then it did something that I was like, "Oh wow, they're actually gonna kill off these people." They're actually gonna do that. That kind of makes up, because it shows that you can't get everything you want, and then it's like, psych. And then we get on to the last season. I don't know why they called it seasons when it's manga, but it is what it is. And I'm sorry, right? That last manga got carried so hard by Jun, unbelievably carried by him. He was the best antagonist in part 1 of the story. I'll be honest, at this point I was less reading because of Fujimaru and more for Jun, because he's been he was left out quite a bit in the second season, which did suck, but whenever he showed up he was always a highlight. But yeah, man, he carried hard. Maya was just there. A lot of the supporting characters just kind of weren't it. But yeah, I'm still disappointed so much with how that ended. It could have been so much better, and I've wasted so much time just ranting about it. Oh god. I did actually read Domestic Girlfriend, and my god, that is a dumpster fire, but I couldn't stop reading it. The right girl won, but for the wrong reasons. I could honestly rant about that for so long. Hina was such a good character. Rui too. Natsu, you could understand his conflicts. You could understand everyone in it, even if there was stupid decisions, But just I just kind of like got annoyed with Rui because it just felt like she was very cruel to her sister, and not like she was actually like doing anything to her specifically, but like how she acted in her pursuit of Natsu. I don't know, it just came off as very cruel to me, and yeah, because Hina was quite literally gives up on him and tries to let him go for his sake because of what happens earlier on in the story, and chooses to try and do what's best for him in that, and just absolutely kills me. And but yeah, then the stalker story is just wild in the in the car. Yeah, it's madness. It is absolute madness. But I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. Going over more recent titles, I did read Chainsaw Man, which is absolute insanity. I cannot wait to see what Mappa does with it. Actually, that's something that I could go over. Chainsaw Man, Hell's Paradise, and Jujutsu Kaisen are all animated by Mappa. You know, that is insane. The Dark Horse trio, whatever you want to call it. You know, because all the artists are linked. I believe two of them were the assistants to the mangaka of Chainsaw Man. I believe that's right. I could be wrong. Oh, this is a fun fact actually. I, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. I read that back when it was Tokyo Metropolitan Curse Technique School. You know that title. I read it before it got renamed to Jujutsu Kaisen. That's a pretty cool fact because it did get released slightly, and this is the key word here, like slightly before Jujutsu Kaisen, which is just it's like I want to say it was like a month out from each other because like that wrapped up in the 28th. God damn it, I can't do months, but yeah, it wrapped up, and then I can't remember if Jujutsu Kaisen was started or not, but yeah, actually there might be a year between the two of them. Yeah, no, I think there was a year between the two of them. I'm just spitballing pure rubbish then. Yeah. Oh, that means that I am wrong then. I started a lot earlier than I remembered. Wow. The more you know. This is a ramble. But yeah, I'm excited for all the adaptations that we're going to see between those. Hell's Paradise, without a doubt, is the best out of that trio, and it's the most underappreciated ones, and I would recommend it the most. I think I think Gabimaru is such a great protagonist. Just his journey from being seen as nothing but a tool, a weapon for his clan, to to the to his relationship with his wife changing his perspective to actually wanting to live and for her and be with her, and then obviously him getting put in jail and all that for it, and that's just in the first chapter. It doesn't give you all the details, but it leaves you enough, and that's just the first chapter, and then it leads you into these other characters. And now I don't know how to pronounce his name, so this is going to be quite just the oh god, did he really pronounce the name wrong? But one of the Aza brothers, Chobe, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Like I said, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, so yeah, bear with me here. Bear with me. He is just. I was expecting him to be like a cool later antagonist, but his story and the brotherhood between him and Toma, just that was honestly my favorite aspect of the story, because like how Toma views him and how Chobe or Choba, I don't like I said, don't know how to pronounce his name, just like how what he considers the most important, what keeps him moving, and just like what he does and like what he gives up is just it's beautiful and amazing. I honestly think this might have the most solid supporting cast. internal strife is amazing. Yuzura Yuzuraha, like I said, pronunciation is not my strong suit. Yuzuria, that might be the correct pronunciation, is top notch. Tamiya is just insane. So many of them are just amazing characters, and I just wanted to gush over them for a solid minute or two or five, you know. Now, I could obviously just go over JoJo's, as well. JoJo Part 1's is actually pretty mediocre, Part 2 is pretty good, Part 3 is amazing, Part 4 is the best, Part 5's slightly better than Part 1. Stone Ocean's kind of middle of the run. Part 7 is very good, but it might just be nostalgia or whatever that's keeping Stardust Crusaders over it, but I don't think it's better than Part 4, and I know a lot of people disagree with that. And Julian's pretty solid, but the main villain kind of sucks, and like, don't get me wrong, I liked the ending, but I didn't like how long, well, not how long it took, I didn't like how it led up to the end. I thought it was pretty boring, wasn't particularly enjoyable in my opinion. Now, I want to discuss perhaps my favourite mangaka's works with I'm going to start off with 20th Century Boys, because can I just say, Naoki Urasawa quite honestly might be the greatest mangaka of all time. Just from his, it's not his like bodies of work, it's from the quality of his work, because they are insane, especially because he's wrote multiple of these at the same time. But I want to start with 20th Century Boys, as well, so it's not his magnum opus, it's so damn close to it. 20th Century Boys, when I was first reading it, it's hard to explain, but it's interesting, but at the same time you're like, really, this is what you're going with, until you get slightly further in, and then like, oh, this is what you're going, whoa, and then just you're hooked. That's what it was like for me. Kenji is amazing protagonist, and he's also one of the most bizarre in a sense, because I want to say, from from the New Year's, the New Year, I forget what it's called, but the New Year's attack or whatever it was, people think it was the Kenji faction. From that point onwards, he is not present as like up to date, as in the current self of him, because it does have a time skip. He is not present until over 130 chapters as the main character. There, you see young Kenji, you see, you'll see snippets of him throughout his life, but he is gone for a large majority of the story, and the balls to be able to do that, and then like, you'd think it'd just be like, it wouldn't be able to hold up, but it isn't. It's not like, it is, all the characters are interesting, and a lot more than you'd be able to expect or be able to give them credit for, and it's shocking. Friend as an antagonist, he's no Johan, but he's pretty damn close, and in some cases almost scarier than him. Kana is probably my favourite character. I thought she was so enjoyable. I love her story arc. Yukiji is just a phenomenal supporting character. Kyoko as well. Yoshitsune Fukabe is actually, like, you don't expect him to be what he is, but he's amazing. like his role in the story, you wouldn't expect it to be as big as it is, and then just it's it's amazing. Then you've got Inshu or Majume, you know, the old creepy looking guy, as I always like to call him, because he does look creepy. Like, I wasn't expecting to like his, like, I expected to like to hate him, but not actually like to like him. Like, I actually did get some serious enjoyment out of his character. I found his story arc and what happens to him very satisfying. One character that I did absolutely love to hate, was Mitsuyu. You know, one of the enforcers of the is it Dreamland? French Dream World. I forget the names because it's been so long, but there's so many characters that stick in your mind, and the amazing thing from Urasawa, and this does happen throughout a lot of his works, is his ability to call back earlier on the story and his overall sheer lack of like plot holes. Because like this story is nearly flawless. It's insane. And also, I just want to give a shout out to Chono for trying to fill in his grandfather's shoes. What a lad! Even though he doesn't really do it successfully. Also, am I the only one that like he goes from like a sort of bumbling idiot to someone that's reliable, and then it, like, out of nowhere, it just looks like Clint. Like, he's like dressed up in like a Clint Eastwood attire, and I absolutely love it. But yeah, 20th Century Boys' biggest problem is its ending, because it ends without an ending until 21st Century Boys came out, and that's where my biggest problem, and why I don't consider it as good as Monster, is because it has a distinct split between 20th century and 21st century. As I think if it was just one story, if it wasn't 21st century, I would honestly have it as a 10 out of 10. But it legit splits, and it was a pain that, and I also may just be annoyed because it was a pain in the ass to try and find an English translation of 21st Century Boys. But yeah, it was a pain in the ass. Oh. But that's enough about 20th Century Boys. Let's discuss Monster. Now, Monster, in my opinion, is very much a story that you need to go in with no context to get the most enjoyment out of it. Learning about Dr. Tenma, his his concept of morality, what his beliefs are, and seeing how they clash with perhaps the greatest antagonist of all time, in Johann. Sorry, Johann. Oh my god. I swear, the the amount of bloopers that I'm just going to leave into this is ridiculous. But yeah, I like the battle of concepts, the battle of morality that has gone on. I just, it's so good. Just read, like, I really don't want to spoil it, but just read it, please. Yeah, it's just, I'm going to actually just talk about Johann. Johann is one of the scariest characters I've ever read, and it's not through like, it's not through how most people try to present a scary character. You know, in a sense, it's like what's the guy from Inglorious Bastards? It's in the same sense of him that he's terrifying. It's not so much that he as a person is imposing, you know, other than maybe mentally. It's just how they get stuff done. The calmness, so to speak. The absolute like lack of anything there. The ability to go through, just through people, so to speak. It's it's crazy. Also, fuck Roberto. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I could gush about all the stuff that I've read, but I feel like I should just end it here. And if I ever want to bring it up again or go more in detail, I can. This is hopefully going to be a back-to-back upload release with the anime video. I'm still working on the Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'm actually going to have my friend jump in on that for a bashing, so to speak, on the horrible Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But yeah, currently I don't really have much plans for what I'm going to have in the future. Like I said, there might be a Neon Genesis video, there might not be. You never know. Maybe I'll release some commentaries over movies or shows. But yeah, the sky's the limit, I guess. Hopefully that you'll stick around and subscribe and like this video and be ready for the next videos. I've been Mark, and I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Goodbye.